Only $300, my father sneered, tossing my gift aside. Ava pays for mom for $1,700 monthly. I muttered, those auto payments were from my backup account. Then my sister slid a folder across the table. We voted. You need to move out by Friday. That night, I revoked every access, froze the rent, and by morning they saw it, an envelope labeled confidential. My name is Nathan. I'm 34 years old, and I live in Springfield, Illinois. This story starts the night I tried to give something meaningful to my father, something more than the usual whiskey bottle or gift card. I thought I was being thoughtful. Turns out, I was just being naive. It was a Saturday night. Family dinner at my parents' place. Everyone was there. My mom, dad, my older sister Ava, her husband Greg, even my teenage cousin Henry, who sat at the table glued to his phone like usual. I had spent weeks looking for the right thing. Then I found it. An antique brass compass from a shop downtown. I had it engraved on the back, still true north. It was a reference to a camping trip from when I was 9, the last time I remember my dad treating me like a son he actually liked. The compass cost me $300. That might not seem like a fortune, but for me, it was. I'd used the last of a private savings account I'd kept since high school. I'd never touched it until now. Thought it would mean something. When dessert rolled around, I stood up, pulled out the small box from my coat, and handed it to him across the table. Happy early Father's Day, I said. He took it, already annoyed. It's April. Yeah, I know, I said, trying to smile. But I saw this and thought of you. He opened the box, lifted the compass, turned it over in his palm. For a second, I thought I saw something flicker across his face, recognition maybe, or warmth. But no, this it, he said. That's it. He snorted. Looks like something from the bottom of a cereal box. There was a pause. Not long, just enough for the sting to set in. I had it engraved, I said quietly. He squinted, turned it over again, read the back. Huh, still true north. What's that supposed to mean? A reference, I said, from when we went hiking in Wisconsin. Remember the storm? You pulled out the compass, told me. Yeah, he waved his hand. Long time ago. Thought you'd have grown out of that sentimental crap by now. Ava laughed. Not loud, but enough. He's just trying to be sweet, Dad. Sweet would be doing something useful, he said. Like you, Ava. All those appointments you drive Mom to, managing her meds, calling the doctors. That's what real help looks like. Not trinkets. No one said anything. Not my mom. Not Ava. Not even Greg, who usually at least try to play peacekeeper. Just silence. And the faint clicking of Henry's thumbs on his phone. I sat down. Didn't say a word. Just nodded like it was fine. But in my chest, something cracked. That compass had cost me more than money. It was hope. It was reaching out one last time. And now it sat on the table like garbage. I looked at the gift. Then at my family. Nobody looked back. The next dinner was only a week later. Same house. Same table. I told myself I wouldn't bring up the compass. I wouldn't let myself care. But something was off from the second I walked in. Ava was already seated, a manila folder resting in front of her like she was there for a board meeting instead of pot roast. Greg gave me that awkward nod he always did when he knew something I didn't. My mom didn't even greet me, just hovered near the stove, I was a little too busy with the green beans. I took my usual seat. Ava slid the folder across the table toward me, calm as can be. We had a meeting, she said. A meeting? She nodded, folding her hands. Yeah, between me, Mom, and Greg. And we've decided, it's time you found your own place. I laughed, because I thought it was a joke. She didn't smile. My laugh faded. You're serious? I am, she said. It's been almost 2 years, Nathan. You moved back in after the layoff, and we were happy to help. But it's time. Time. I repeated. I pay rent. I pay utilities. Hell, I do most of the shopping. Greg spoke up then, like he was throwing her a lifeline. You've been great, man. But it's not just about money. It's about, space. Space. That word sat between us like a bad smell. Henry, sitting across the table with his usual plate of beige food, didn't even look up from his phone. My mom finally sat down, but she didn't say a word. Just stared at her plate like maybe if she looked hard enough, she could disappear into the mashed potatoes. No one talked to me about this, I said. That's kind of the point, Ava said, voice light. You never really talk about anything. You just exist. Quiet, but heavy. Like furniture that size. I felt my face flush. Not anger, not yet. Just confusion. And then something colder. Okay, I said finally. I'll go. She blinked. Wait, that's it. Yeah, I said. That's it. I didn't eat much after that. Neither did they. The rest of dinner was quiet, except for Henry's fork scraping against his plate. That night, back in the guest room I'd been staying in, the one I'd repainted and fixed the leaky window in, I logged into my accounts. Turned off every auto pay tied to the house. Water, power, gas, internet. Every account I managed because no one else ever bothered to figure it out. I checked the old spreadsheet I kept, the one they never knew about, and removed the shared card for groceries. Cut off the recurring pharmacy deliveries under my name. Then I clicked into the savings account that had been my lifeline since I was 22. The one I dipped into for that stupid compass. And I closed it. The folder Ava had slid across the table didn't contain anything that mattered. But what I did next, that was the real eviction. And this time, it wasn't just me who would be moving on. They found out the next morning. It started with a group text from Ava. One of those messages where you could practically hear the panic behind every tap. Ava, is the internet down? And the water? What's going on? I didn't respond. Then another. Mom, Nathan, the gas company says the account is closed. Did something happen? I still didn't respond. By noon, my voicemail was full. My mother, near tears. Ava trying to sound calm, like none of this was serious, just a minor glitch. Greg even chimed in once, asking if I could fix whatever got crossed. But I didn't fix anything. I just left the envelope. I'd placed it on the kitchen counter that morning before anyone was awake. Just a manila envelope with my handwriting on the front. You built comfort on my silence. Here's the bill. Inside, a full breakdown. Every dime spent. Every monthly auto deduction. Every delivery I paid for. Every expense they hadn't realized was coming from me. And a second document, itemized, date-stamped, labeled Ava's charges. Over $11,000. The file went back a full year. The math didn't lie. There was the pharmacy refill I never authorized, a therapy subscription with a third-party provider tied to my email. I thought it was for our mom. It wasn't. Then came the online orders. Beauty products. A wellness journal. Some kind of crystal-infused humidifier. All shipped to her name, rerouted through an old Amazon account I forgot she had access to. There was even a recurring expense from a mindfulness app. $500 billed annually. I didn't even know what it was until I looked it up, something about chakra alignment and sound baths. Ava never asked. She just assumed I wouldn't notice. And she was right. For months, I didn't. Because I was too busy being grateful for a couch to sleep on and a kitchen to cook in. Too busy trying not to be a burden. Later that day, she called. You're being cruel, she said. No, I said. I'm being accurate. It was just stuff I needed. I didn't think you'd care. That's the problem, I said. You didn't think at all. She paused, then tried to soften her voice. We're family, Nate. You don't need to treat this like some business transaction. I almost laughed. You slid a dossier across the dinner table and evicted me. Remember that. Silence. I could hear my mom crying in the background. Then her voice, muffled but clear enough. Tell them it was a joke. A joke. That was their defense. I hung up, and for the first time since I moved back in, I didn't feel guilty. I felt clean. They had built their lives on the idea that I wouldn't speak, wouldn't ask, wouldn't fight back. They were wrong. The paper trail wasn't about revenge. It wasn't even about the money. It was proof. Proof that I had given more than they ever realized. And that from now on, they'd have to live without it. The first post went up that Sunday night. Ava, arms crossed, eyes red, lips tight, a perfect picture of forced vulnerability. The caption read, Sometimes, the people you trust the most will weaponize your past against you. I never imagined I'd be treated this way by my own brother. The likes poured in. Sympathy flooded the comments. Sending love. You don't deserve this. Family can be so toxic. Then came the screenshots cropped tight, missing context, a PayPal invoice labeled therapy fund, a Venmo note that read, for mom's meds, all designed to paint me as heartless, vindictive, unstable. My mother joined in 2 days later. A blurry photo of her old garden with the caption, Hard to plant anything when everything around you turns cold. Even Greg posted something, a passive-aggressive Bible verse about forgiveness and persecution. They were framing me like I was the villain in some family tragedy. The bitter one. The outsider. The one who turned his back. But I didn't respond. I didn't comment. Didn't post. Didn't explain. Because I had something better. See, before I left, I pulled the old hard drive from the family desktop, the one in the den they thought nobody used. I used to back up files there. So did Ava. She probably forgot. Or maybe she didn't care. But in that dusty digital attic, I found everything. Dozens of audio files. Practice recordings, Ava rehearsing arguments in front of a mic. Some were old therapy prompts. Others were something else. Then I found the folder labeled Emergency Assets. Inside were clipped audio edits, full sentences, spliced from different recordings. My voice, her voice. I played one, heart pounding. I wish she was dead. It was me. My voice. But I never said that. Not once. She'd taken fragments, bits of old voicemails and background audio, and cut them together like some deranged podcast editor. And the metadata confirmed it. The file had been created 2 weeks ago. Saved under the name Leverage. There it was. A fake recording. A manufactured clip designed to ruin me. I sat back in my chair, staring at the screen. She hadn't just tried to make me look bad. She tried to destroy me. And she almost got away with it. I copied everything to a flash drive. Backed it up twice. Sent one to my lawyer friend from college with a simple message. Keep this safe. Might need it. Still, I didn't post. Didn't reply. Let them spin their story. Because the truth wasn't a tweet. It was a file. A full hard drive of receipts they'd pray never saw the light of day. They thought they knew how to play the game, public sympathy, social media martyrdom. But I had something they didn't. Proof. And I wasn't just going to survive their smear campaign. I was going to bury it. It hit me when I was organizing receipts. I wasn't planning to revisit the past. I just wanted to skin everything in, document the financial damage in case I ever needed to build a real legal case. But then I found the note, a yellow sticky folded between two old printouts. Fridge delivery, $800. Scheduled for April 14th. Paid in full. I stared at the handwriting. Mine. That was from 3 years ago. I remembered it like it was yesterday. Our old refrigerator had died. It leaked all over the kitchen floor, shorted out the outlet. Mom called me in a panic. Ava was out of town. Dad just grunted that it would sort itself. So I stepped in. Again. It was my junior year of grad school. I had been working 2 part-time jobs and skipping meals just to afford textbooks. I didn't even flinch when I sent the money. Told myself, they need it more than you do right now. But 2 weeks later, I came by to visit. Walked into the backyard to find a brand new patio set gleaming in the sun. Wicker chairs, a matching umbrella, string lights on the fence. Looks nice, I said, trying to keep it light. Did the fridge delivery go okay? Ava had smiled, sipped her wine. Oh, yeah, we just patched it. Ended up using the money for something fun. I nodded, laughed a little, like it didn't bother me. But that memory stuck. The way she said it, something fun, like my help was a bonus check to be spent on vibes. Like the fridge was just a convenient excuse. Back then, I swallowed it. Thought maybe I was being dramatic. But now, sifting through years of transfers, I saw the pattern. The justifications. The half-truths. I had paid for emergencies that turned out to be vacations. I'd covered mental health resources that turned out to be spa subscriptions. They hadn't just drained me. They had trained me. To accept crumbs. To say thank you for being overlooked. To show up with my wallet and leave with my silence. That ledger, the one Ava laughed off like a punchline, it wasn't just numbers anymore. It was grief, layered and slow burning. And it lit a fire in me I hadn't felt in years. I was done keeping records just for myself. It was time to show them what the balance looked like. And this time, I wouldn't be the one paying. I didn't even know about the loan until a letter arrived from a credit union I'd never used. Account review notice, cosigner information discrepancy. At first, I thought it was junk mail. I almost threw it out. But something about the wording made me open it. Inside, a copy of a loan agreement for $14,500. Signed by me. Or at least, someone pretending to be me. The signature was close. Not perfect, but close enough that a bank clerk probably wouldn't question it. And the cosigner? My father. I stared at it for a long time, trying to breathe through the rage. Trying to believe it wasn't real. But it was. I called the credit union, asked a few questions, stayed calm. The agent was helpful. She confirmed what I feared. Loan was taken out 6 months ago. Application processed in person. ID photocopied. We have a copy on file. They emailed it to me. There it was. My father's name. His photo. And mine. Only the ID wasn't mine. It was a printed copy of an old driver's license I'd lost years ago. They'd used it. Without permission. Without a word. I hung up and stared at my hands for a long time. They were shaking, just slightly. That night, I filed an affidavit with the fraud department. Froze the account. Flagged my credit. Contacted an attorney. The next morning, I printed everything, the loan documents, the bank records, screenshots of every dollar that had been rerouted through me, the fake audio clips, the forged payments Ava had hidden in joint bills. I compiled it all into one thick folder. Labeled it. Family Audit, Nathan Turner. Inside were tabs. One for Ava. One for Mom. One for Dad. I made 3 copies. I didn't include a letter. No explanation. Just facts. On Friday, I drove to my parents' house. They were home. I saw the lights on. I didn't knock. I just walked up to the mailbox, slid the envelope in, and left. I did the same for Ava. Dropped it on her front porch like a subpoena. Then I went home and sat on the floor of my new apartment, a tiny 1-bedroom above a bookstore, quiet, no family photos, and poured myself a drink. I looked at the original copy sitting on the table and whispered, if they wanted a war, I brought the receipts. It wasn't revenge. It was clarity. They had called me a disappointment, a burden, a soft, sentimental fool. But the numbers told the real story. Every expense I covered. Every lie they told. Every time I paid the bill, literally and figuratively, just to keep the peace. Now they had to sit with it. No spin. No sympathy likes. Just the truth. And the only thing I felt as I turned out the lights was relief. She picked the place. A little cafe just off Main Street, tucked between a flower shop and a used bookstore. I hadn't been there in years, not since I was 21 and broke, nursing cheap coffee and pretending I belonged in a town that never really wanted me. Now I was 34, and I had the receipts to prove I did. My mom was already there when I walked in. Same floral scarf she always wore when she wanted to seem warm. Her hands wrapped around a latte like it was some sort of shield. She looked up, forced a smile. "Nathan." I nodded and sat across from her without saying a word. She got to it fast. "I just want to talk." I didn't answer. She sighed, like this was exhausting for her. "You blindsided us. You could have said something. Instead, you delivered. Packages." "Facts," I said. "Not packages." "You've humiliated your father," she said, voice tightening. "He opened that envelope and didn't speak for an hour." "Funny," I said. "Neither did I for 29 years. She flinched. "Nathan, that's not fair." "No," I said, pulling the folder from my bag. "What's not fair is what you let happen." I slid the folder across the table, open to a section marked Forgery and Fraud, Loan Co-Signature. "You really think I wouldn't find out?" I asked. "You think I wouldn't notice a $14,500 loan in my name?" Her lips parted. "I didn't know." "Then why is your handwriting on the mailing address confirmation page?" I turned the folder. Showed her the printed scan. "Your cursive is always looped too far." "I remember. I used to trace your Christmas cards." She didn't say anything. Her eyes filled, but I didn't feel moved. "Not this time." "Don't blame Ava," she whispered. "I don't," I said. "Not entirely." I pulled out the flash drive, set it on top of her coffee napkin. "What is that?" she asked, voice small. "Audio," I said. "Clips she edited. One of them frames me saying I wished you were dead." She paled. "Play it." "I dare you." Her fingers hovered over the drive but didn't touch it. I sat back, leveled my voice. "You want to know what really happened, Mom? I kept this family afloat for a decade. Utilities, groceries, your prescriptions, even Ava's therapy expenses. I let you all take from me because I thought maybe, just maybe, I could earn your love by carrying your weight." She blinked. A tear slid down her cheek. "But you know what the real lesson is?" I said. "No one values what they didn't have to work for." "Nathan," she started, reaching for my hand. "We were stressed. Ava was struggling. Your father." "Stop," I said, pulling away. "You always explain, always justify, but you never apologize." Silence. I pulled the final document from my bag, a single-page letter on thick paper, placed it in front of her. "What's this?" "My formal withdrawal," I said. "Financially, emotionally, legally. I'm not responsible for you anymore." She looked like I'd hit her. "I'm your mother," she said. "That still means something." "It does," I said, standing. "It means you should have protected me. Instead, you let Ava weaponize me. Let Dad forge my name." I slung my bag over my shoulder. "I'm done being your safety net." She looked like she wanted to stop me, but she didn't. As I walked out of that cafe, sun hitting my face, no guilt in my chest, I realized something. She didn't need my forgiveness. She needed a reckoning. And she just got it. I didn't want to go viral. That wasn't the plan. I just wanted to be heard for once on my terms. So I sat down in my new apartment, plain white walls behind me, nothing but a cheap lamp and a folding chair, and hit record. "Hi, my name's Nathan Turner. I'm 34. And this is a story about what financial abuse looks like when it comes from your own family. No dramatic music. No tears. Just facts." I started with the basics. Pulled up the spreadsheet on screen. Walked through it line by line. Groceries. Prescriptions. Mortgage top-offs. Emergency loans that were never paid back. All totaling just over $74,000 in the last 5 years. Then I played the clip. Just 5 seconds. The one Ava doctored, my voice stitched together to sound like a threat. Then I played the original snippets, one by one. The truth behind the lie. "This is how you rewrite someone's character with a soundbite," I said. "This is how your sister turns you into a villain to save face." I didn't beg for sympathy. I didn't trash them by name. I just showed the math. Showed the audio. Showed the paper trail. Then I looked directly into the camera. If this sounds familiar, if your generosity's been used against you, if your silence has been mistaken for weakness, you're not alone. I know how it feels to be told you're family, but treated like a resource. I ended with a quiet pause. Then, "I'm done being quiet. This is me, closing the account." I uploaded the video at midnight on a Thursday. Thought maybe 50 people would watch it. By the next morning, it had 120,000 views. By the weekend, it passed 500,000. The comment section turned into a confessional. Same thing happened with my brother. My parents drained my savings and called me ungrateful when I stopped. I thought I was crazy, but this feels like my life. Journalists emailed me, podcast hosts, therapists offering free consultations. Even a lawyer from Portland who specialized in intrafamilial financial fraud reached out to say, "You're not just brave, you're evidence." Then came the DM that stopped me cold. From Nick, Ava's ex. "I've seen what she's capable of. You're not wrong. You're just the first one who said it out loud. Respect. No drama. No threats. Just a man who used to be stuck in the same story, watching me write the ending." By Monday, my inbox was full of people, not strangers anymore, who called what I did a blueprint. They didn't see me as broken. They saw me as proof. I hadn't just posted a video. I'd posted a mirror. And it reflected a truth that thousands of people had been too scared to say. Until now. I started with my contacts. Deleted my mother. My father. Ava. Greg. Even Henry, though he never really said anything in the first place. It wasn't anger. It wasn't even sadness anymore. Just a clean break. The kind you make when a surgeon tells you the infection won't stop until you remove the whole limb. Next came the passwords. Bank logins. Utility sites. Shared streaming accounts. Old payment apps that still had family dinner or mom's gas bill in the transaction history. Gone. All of it. Then the photos. Not out of spite, just necessity. If I kept seeing their faces in my camera roll, I'd start remembering the good days. And good memories? They're poison when they keep you attached to people who hurt you. One by one, I archived the albums, moved them to a locked folder, and let them sit like old furniture I didn't need but couldn't quite burn. Not yet. Then came the house keys. The spare one I still had for Ava's place gone. The guest bedroom sheets she'd given me when I first moved back in tossed. That mug my mom bought me that said, "World's okayest brother," shattered in the sink without ceremony. I replaced everything. New linens. New mugs. Even a new scent for the apartment. One of those cheap wax warmers that made the place smell like sandalwood and clean paper. It wasn't fancy, but it didn't smell like them. I bought a couch. Small, soft, secondhand. But mine. I bought a bookshelf and filled it with stuff. I used to love books I hadn't touched in years because someone always needed something. For the first time in over a decade, I decorated a space without asking, would they like this? Because they didn't matter anymore. They didn't live here. They didn't live in me. People talk about going no contact like it's a big dramatic declaration. For me, it was a quiet ritual. Delete. Unlink. Replace. Reclaim. By the time I finished, I sat back on my tiny couch and realized I couldn't hear their voices in my head anymore. No guilt. No rewound arguments. Just silence. And in that silence, for the first time in my life, I could finally hear myself think. And what I heard was this. "You're home now." My birthday came quietly that year. No phone calls. No cards. No passive-aggressive text from my mother or late-night voicemails from Ava pretending everything was normal. Just an email. Subject line, transaction complete, refund issued. It was from the cruise line. A deposit I'd placed 2 years ago for a family vacation that never happened. I'd fought for that refund, forgotten about it, assumed it would get buried in corporate red tape. But there it was, $587.49 back in my account. I stared at the screen for a moment, then laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was perfect. The only gift I got from my family that year was something I had paid for myself, and they didn't even know they were giving it back. I bought a small cake from the bakery down the block. Nothing special, just chocolate with fudge frosting and the words, "Happy Birthday," Nathan scribbled on it in shaky white icing. I ate it alone at the kitchen table with a candle stuck in the middle. One flame, one breath, one quiet toast. To freedom. That night, I opened the site I'd been building in secret, familyaudit.org. The name wasn't flashy, but it was simple, clear, and real. The homepage read, "If you've been financially exploited by your family, you're not alone. We built this for you." Inside were resources, templates for expense tracking, legal guides, a forum moderated by volunteers who understood exactly what it felt like to be the black sheep with a balance sheet. I didn't promote it. I didn't need to. It took off anyway. The video I'd posted weeks earlier was still being shared. And the people watching it? They needed more than empathy. They needed tools. Somewhere to go. By the end of the week, donations rolled in. Small amounts at first. $5. 10. 100 from someone named Carrie in Wisconsin who wrote, "This saved me. Thank you." I didn't build a brand. I built a lifeline. 2 months later, a journalist from a national paper reached out. She wanted to interview me, talk about the emerging movement of adult children cutting off financial abuse and going fully no contact. She called me a pioneer. I told her I was just tired. Ava responded in the only way she knew how, with a video of her own. It was short. A sit-down vlog with a sad expression and a tissue box just barely in frame. She painted herself as the sister who had been smeared online by a mentally unstable sibling. Claimed the voice clips were taken out of context. Said her only crime was being too trusting. It got a few thousand views. But the top comment, pinned, liked over 14,000 times, read. He learned from the best. No one believed her anymore. Not because I asked them not to, but because I never had to beg for belief. I just showed the truth. 3 days after her video went live, I mailed one final envelope. It was slim, not dramatic. Inside was the notarized withdrawal letter formally removing myself from all financial responsibilities tied to my parents' estate. The note I included was only 3 words long. This closes everything. I never checked to see if they opened it. Because by then, I wasn't watching anymore. I was busy answering emails from strangers who finally felt seen. I was busy living in an apartment that felt like mine, in a life that didn't echo with guilt. I was busy being free. And for the first time ever, that was enough.